ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, UKMtG, and it's Jordan here, and it's time again for another sweet deck tech, and of course, this one is very close to my heart, because it revolves around my favourite tribe of all time, Goblins. That's right, boys and girls, with the release of Core Set 2019, Goblins are once again viable as a deck in Standard, and that's all in part thanks to our new Lord Goblin Trashmaster. So without further ado, let's just dive straight into the deck tech, in which I am calling Mono Red Goblin Burn. So with the creatures, at the lower end of the scale we're running Skirk, Prospector, Goblin Instigator and Wily Goblin. Prospector allows us to sacrifice any goblin, including itself, to generate 1 red mana, which can allow us to ramp up in later turns. Instigator is generating 2 power and toughness across 2 bodies, and essentially is a really sweet goblin that works in tandem with the Prospector. Wily Goblin creates a treasure when it enters the battlefield. This allows us to ramp out a 4-drop on turn 3 or a 5-drop turn 4, which is what we're trying to do. At the mid-range of the curve, we have creatures like a Goblin Chainwhirl and Goblin Warchief. The Chainwhirl has become a bit of a hated card in Standard, as the 1 damage can make a difference late game, as well as it is a little bit of a board wipe for some of the X1 creatures that are in the format at the moment. Warchief allows us to cast goblins for 1 colourless cheaper. And it also gives all the goblins that we control on the board haste, which does allow us to have rather large swings with the deck. At the top end of the curve, we're running Trashmaster and Siege Gang Commander. Goblin Trashmaster, as we said, is the Lord, but it also allows us the ability to sacrifice goblins to destroy artifacts. The Siege Gang Commander is a sweet 5-drop. When it enters the battlefield, we also get another 3 1/1 Goblin tokens, and it has the ability that if we pay 2 mana, we can sacrifice a goblin to deal 2 damage to any target. Better still, this obviously works in conjunction with the Prospector, as you can always hold up the ability to sacrifice goblins at instant speed for mana and then deal damage, thus eliminating some good sideboard card options like Fumigate, where your opponent will gain life. We also run 2 Chandra Torture of Defiance. She essentially allows us to control the board either through extra card draw, ramping out creatures, or controlling our opponent's board, and if we do manage to get the ultimate off, we can do some serious damage with our spells. So what spells are we running in the deck? Well, main board we have Shock, Aimfire, and the Flame of Keld. Shock is a cantrip removal spell. It's great at getting rid of most 1 and 2 drops in the format, allowing Goblin Horde to get in for some serious damage. Banefire is essentially a second major win con of the deck, as once you are casting it with X being greater than 5, it can't be countered, and we can fuel the spell with Prospector to gain some extra damage. Finally, Flame of the Keld is a way in which our deck allows to punch with some extra damage. So the Saga means that we have to discard a hand, which is not ideal, but we do get 2 extra cards on the second trigger, followed by the third counter, allowing all our red sources to deal their normal damage plus 2. So Shock suddenly is going to be hitting for 4, Siege Ganger ability is going to be hitting for 4 also. One of the most fun is being Chainwhirl entering the battlefield, dealing 3 damage to all opponent's creatures and the player and the planeswalkers. The card is essentially allowing us to be a very aggressive deck. So that is it for the main board, and the land base is actually really super simple at just 21 mountains. We're not running any of the cycling lands, anything that enters tapped, because essentially you want to be maximising the impact each turn from the first one. One word of advice I will give is that your opening hand should ideally have 3 lands in it. You can get away with 2 though, providing that the other cards in your hand are low enough on the curve from playtest experience. So moving on to the sideboards, as always remember this is just a suggestion and to tweak it accordingly to your meta. We have Lightning Strike, which is obviously an upgrade to Shocks and tends to be brought in against most green decks or black decks as they run creatures with large toughnesses. Volley Veteran is a direct damage spell on a stick. It allows us to deal damage to target creature equal to the number of goblins we control, and with 4 power it packs a punch. Trumpet Bass allows us to pump up our goblins' attack on a board stall, ideally to gain the last points of damage. We have some Jay Ballads in the sideboard if we decide to go burn heavy. Essentially she allows us to ramp out our big X spells quicker, and if we do get to Ultima, well, we have an active Past in Flames on our graveyard at all times. Finally we have Insult and Injury, which is allowing us to get around fog effects, because obviously the damage can't be countered, but also it has the upside of doubling all the damage output from all our creatures and spells and everything else. Injury allows us to obviously cast from the graveyard at sorcery speed, but it is dealing damage to a creature as well as its creature's controller. So that wraps it up for Mono Red Goblins for Standard. have I missed any sweet cards from Standard that should be in this list? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, as an FYI, this was not my own brew. Luke found this beautiful list and then couldn't find the link to send me, so apologies if you do find your list is being published. I have not been 100% honest that this is not my list, but I do enjoy playing it. Last thing as well is that UKMtG Tengu. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter. He's part of the teams at Master of Magic. He's also a big Goblin fan. When he saw the list, he was inspired and he's gone off and brewed something very spicy with God Pharaoh's Gift, of which I'm excited to see the games that he's going to be playing on that. Lastly, if you do love Goblins, drop a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel. And I have been your host, Jordan, signing off saying goodbye.